everybody, and welcome back to We Bought a Mic for Good Mic Hunting, a Robin Williams career arc series celebrating the man, the comedian, the serial killer. Spooky, scary.
Spoilers.
Talking Insomnia, not the local cookie delivery company here in the greater Orlando area.
This is why this movie is so forgotten, because the SEO is ruined.
Yeah,
it's like, what is this, a sleep disorder?
No, that's the thing is I'm like looking up like Insomnia real life, like trying to look up the real story that this is based on. It's like Insomnia, trouble sleeping, and I can't find the movie. Can't find the movie anywhere.
Please get help. Seek medical attention. Now we're talking Christopher Nolan's Insomnia 2002. Welcome to the show. My name's Ernest.
I don't have a fun thing for this one. This isn't a movie with a lot of quotes.
Sleepy time.
I did watch this movie at like 5 in the morning, so I feel like I captured the energy of the Al Pacino character in this movie. Oh, well, it is. Viewers of the YouTube might see that it's a little bit bright behind us, but what you don't know is it's actually 10 p.m.
It's actually 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, okay, yeah.
4 days, Dormer.
I'm Hunter.
Tell me, Dormer, how the lamb stopped screaming at?
We're going to talk about the influences in this movie because it's,
and I'm Drew. And you might be wondering, is there a reason? I think it was you maybe last week, Hunter, that said that this is the most under-discussed Nolan.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're super right. Like even people like Following, which is a way smaller production, is like an ultimate Reddit movie.
It has like a cult following.
Yeah. Has anyone else seen Following? It's actually kind of a masterpiece.
And
then
underrated gem.
And then obviously Memento. And then this is his first studio, like bigger movie. The trade-off, as we learned watching it, Ernest and I watched this together.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Ernest. You're going to have to pretend like I'm saying all this for the first time. I'm sorry.
Okay. Because we were riffing during the movie.
I was
working on bits.
There was a lot to talk over.
Yeah.
Here's Al Pacino covering his windows again.
Wow,
he's too fucking bright in here.
It's too bright, man. Needed more. I need Pacino to dial it up a little bit more. We'll get to that.
The trade-off is that Nolan did not get to write this movie, and whether or not you like his writing style, it is extremely, especially back then, before he got a little bit looser with things like Dunkirk and Tenet. Like it had a floor. Just because of all the bells and whistles, every single line would have some sort of meaning behind it, to a fault, but still, it would have more oomph to it. It's sort of, I compared it to like an opposite True Romance, where like that movie feels Tarantino-ish, but Tarantino just wrote it. He didn't get to direct it, so it's not full Tarantino. This doesn't feel like full Nolan.
Well, it was his audition. And I think that might be a good thing to discuss. We can do it now or we can save it for later, but like the best audition movies, because he goes from Memento, which was a big movie in terms of like attention, but a small movie in terms of like production. It was still a very indie movie that was not made in the studio system. Insomnia is a Warner Brothers movie. It begins the long relationship that Nolan would go on to have that would end with Tenet, because now Oppenheimer is going to be a Universal movie, but it's his like, okay, Nolan, make a normal movie. And then if you do a good job,
can you play with the big boys? Are you willing to just like sit there and take your studio notes and kind of play with them that way?
And he made money. This movie made money.
It was successful.
And then Batman Begins was right after this. He just got passed right over to that.
It's interesting, and like it's funny bringing up like the audition movie, because you're right, that used to be a thing that would happen all the time, and now at this point it's like, hey, you made your indie horror film, welcome to your own Ant-Man franchise. Like it's just like kind of like that you just kind of get swept up in the fucking Marvelification of everything. There is no middle ground in between like going from small indie to the big $200 million budget movie. Like, I don't know what the budget of this is. If I was going to guess, I'd say around like 20-ish.
I think
46 mil.
Oh,
46,
wow.
yeah, 20 to 50. I'm just guessing somewhere sub 50.
Robin's expensive.
Robin is
O2
Robin and Al Pacino at this time.
Yeah, I guess Al.
This is
But Al
the
made a lot of
hump, post-heat Rise Again.
Al was making a lot of like straight to DVD garbage too.
Oh well, yeah.
I think he got sucked into that. And Robin a little bit, but not as much.
Well, it's interesting. I think that'd be like a fun topic in the future, is just like kind of what the straight to DVD kind of genre things look like. Because for a lot of those movies, especially Nick Cage ones, it's like, oh, this movie has a $5 million budget. It's like, actually, no, Nick Cage has a $4.5 million budget. And then this movie looks like shit because it was made for nothing.
That's his rate.
Yeah, that's his, even if he does a bad job. You're right. I think that this movie, as much as I have been critical of Nolan in the past, I love Nolan. I feel like I respect and I appreciate what Nolan does more than I would call him one of my favorite filmmakers. No, I do. Maybe I still have the taste of Tenet in my mouth, which is like,
I was ready for this. I was telling
in my mouth.
Get ready for Hunter to say that Insomnia is better than Tenet.
It is. It's a better film. It's a better made movie. It makes sense.
We're not doing this.
This movie is
ridiculous.
So here's the thing. I think that this is a perfect down the middle 7 out of 10. And like, that's kind of all that it is. And that's fine.
And Tenet is a 10 out of 10.
Tenet is shooting for a 12, so you're disappointed when it's a 7. And I like that more.
I think that this movie, well, okay, we'll send it. We don't have to rehash the Tenet argument. A movie that is fucking nonsense. But
this movie sucked.
I don't think this movie sucks. I think this movie sucks. I think that
it's a Chris Nolan movie.
That's the thing. Is like there is a floor to it, but I would so much rather have had Nolan's kind of Nolanism bullshit of him like overwriting than this, which feels like an underbaked mashup of every Fincher movie and Silence of the Lambs leading up to this. Oh my God.
Like that's the Silence of the Lambs.
It's insane. But it looks good. I will say the 3 main performances are all good. We can also say the Hilary Swank talk about how Hilary Swank is on top of the fucking world in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Not on top of the title in the poster.
Well, that is
completely left out.
This is pre Best Actress.
Right.
Pre back-to-back Best Actress.
I know, but she is in the movie like way more than Robin.
Yeah.
And she's good.
She's great. She's awesome.
I couldn't get behind this movie. It felt so average. It felt so, I don't know. It felt so standard. This is based on, we should say, like a Scandinavian movie.
Yeah, it's apparently like an almost beat for beat remake of a 97 Norwegian film.
Not shocking. Especially based on, the location.
Hey, starring Stellan Skarsgård.
Yep. I've actually heard that the original
might check it out.
Good,
but I bet it's fine. The issue here is I think that maybe things got lost in translation, but I think a lot of the levers of tension were just completely lost. Like so many scenes in this movie should be way more tense than they are. And with that veneer gone, with the were you scared of Robin?
No.
He's not scary.
No. Yeah.
He's not scary. His character is not scary because off rip, I don't know. I think that this is a miscasting.
I think
he was kind of scary in 1 Hour Photo.
That's what I was going to say is like, that's actually a better version.
Yeah.
It's because they didn't dye his hair blonde. You gotta fucking bleach my guy's head to make him crazy looking.
In this one.
So let's go over a quick plot summary, because also what bummed me out is that like the bones of a fun plot are definitely here. It's, and like you said, there's a lot of Silence of the Lambs because Pacino is like a hotshot cop from LA,
a Dale Cooper type.
He goes to Alaska. He goes to Alaska, small town in Alaska, to investigate the murder of a young blonde girl.
He goes to Twin Peaks, Washington.
Literally. And the killer, spoiler, is Robin.
Not really a spoiler.
No, it's not, because he's the only character you don't meet.
Right.
In the first like 40 minutes of the fucking movie.
No, I clocked
49 minutes.
It's like right at the halfway point.
Too long
until you actually see his face.
It takes too fucking long. Not just because we're waiting for the Robin, because like that's when the plot starts.
Yeah, because at the beginning it's like an internal affairs plot, and you're like, I don't care about. I had to rewind. So I saw this movie back in like I think high school or something like that. Maybe early
I had definitely
college.
seen it before. Yeah,
like it's been though years and years since I've seen it. And
the logs scene was burned into my brain.
Yes, exactly. That's that scene, the fog scene. Like there's a couple of like really key moments that are Nolan doing his fucking Nolan thing that are just like the direction kind of takes over the plot in a lot of ways. But I think what I forgot about was A, how long it takes to get to Robin, and B, like just kind of how mundane the writing is for this.
It's tough.
I want to like do this movie over again.
Yes, that's exactly my thought. I was like, there's a way
great
better
story, a cat and mouse kind of story. It's kind of like Killing Eve is kind of like what that whole thing is.
Yeah,
of like,
and a lot of, I mean, in addition to Silence of the Lambs, a fuckload of heat. I mean,
what if we
Pacino's
remake
in it, but like so much of like, oh, you think you and I are so different?
Yeah,
like it's.
She's got a great ass.
Killing Eve is just it's this, but what if they gay?
Yeah,
well, they're definitely gay in Heat.
No, in Heat they also are.
I know.
Yeah. They're lovers.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because like by the time the Dark Knight comes out, we can see that Heat is like Chris Nolan's favorite movie. Like he's trying so hard to make Heat when he makes the Dark Knight, and working with Pacino here, it's like he could lean into that more, but he chooses not to as much. It's like he's suppressing his desire.
Nolan is, you mean?
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense. Generally, like script wise, it makes sense that those are the two biggest influences because the original script was written in 97. So even closer to both of those movies.
Yeah. He was 95.
Yes.
Yeah. 95.
Yeah.
So it tracks. I don't think it's bringing a new layer to either of those things. Here's the issue. The plot that is good, that could be a really original through line, is like the cop and the criminal truly have to work together to get away. Mm-hmm. That's pretty fresh. That's not in Heat or Silence. Like they do sort of
Silence
work together.
Silence has a little bit of that.
And then in Heat they find commonalities, but in this movie they have to collaborate, and that is cool. That's really interesting. And it doesn't blossom the way you want it to, I would say.
Well, I think the problem also with this is because it doesn't only have the Heat, doesn't only have the Silence of the Lambs and the Fincher and stuff like that, but it's also really trying to be like a 1940s like crime noir film.
And there's so much old school. Yeah.
The problem is that like I think there's a way to do that and to do it excellent. See one of my favorite movies of last year, Decision to Leave, which is trying to do the Humphrey Bogart noir hard-boiled crime. We're gonna kind of like track down the killer, and like we're gonna find these commonalities with them. But this movie has like the worst sides of that, which is just like terrible pacing. That like this movie just it plods more than it actually has any kind of consistent movement at all.
That's why I'm glad that we watched it together, Drew, because we were just riffing. So when it got slow, we were just like
I watched this movie like kind of sleep deprived because I thought that our schedules got mixed up, and I thought that I was like, man, I gotta cram.
Honestly, same. It was so late when we watched it.
I know. We talked for like 2 hours before playing the movie. I was telling Lee like we have to watch it.
I was like, Lee, I'm pressing play.
We have to watch it now.
I hate to point fingers, but let's do a quick review of Hilary Seitz's screenwriting career.
No,
Eagle Eye, dude.
We're now almost done with the quick recap of her screenwriting career after you said Eagle Eye, because that's almost it.
Were you guys a fan of Eagle Eye?
Yeah,
Eagle Eye rules. That's right whenever Shia is like, we think he's going to be the next big movie star.
Insomnia 2002, Eagle Eye 2008. The Unforgivable 2021,
and that is it.
What is this movie? The Unforgivable.
I think it's a Netflix movie.
A Sandy Bowles movie.
Yeah, it's a Netflix movie.
It's Netflix.
She co-wrote it with Peter Craig.
So good for her.
Probably just had like touch up work on there.
You're definitely right. She's trying to incorporate. She's also doing a translation job, and that's I mean, I'm not that she's the one translating, but you have to make edits.
And probably being told not to deviate from the original story.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the guy Erik Skjoldbjerg, the guy who wrote the Norwegian film, has co-writing credits on this film as well. Like actually co-screenplay credits.
No, I think that's just a rule that
is
they
that
have
the adapted
to,
by? It says screenplay on here, so that's why I didn't know that's.
It says Hilary Swank screenplay, and then the two writers. It says 1997 screenplay.
Oh, the two other. Okay, so Hilary wrote this one by herself.
Yeah, they. It's like it's probably like a WGA rule.
Well, yeah, no, that makes sense.
So
IMDb needs to.
We should mention though, like, just. See this movie. It's on HBO Max if you're curious. I didn't think it was too bad, but
it's worth it for like if you are a Nolan completionist.
Right.
Because it's not. I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's good.
I think it's probably Nolan's weakest movie. I would have to revisit Memento because
it's better than Memento.
Memento is. Are you kidding me? No, Memento fucking rules.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I meant to say Memento.
Oh no, Memento.
No.
Memento
I'm sorry.
fucks. Memento's like a top 3 Nolan.
I think the movie that people usually point to being Nolan's worst is probably The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think Rises is better than this. But I do think it's notable in like again the audition movie. Like what gets him into the path that then goes into like Inception, Interstellar, all these things.
This movie would just like. It makes sense to me why it is never, ever, ever talked about.
Right.
Like, because it was
lost to time for a reason.
Yeah, it's just a movie you would find on a streaming service and like throw it on one night and be like, yeah,
But it has Al Pacino. It has Al Pacino and Robin Williams.
I know. Well, so I contend that this is a dual miscasting. I love Al Pacino. I love Al Pacino. I think he's past his prime here. A
little bit. The wig is tough.
The wig is brutal.
There are some weird wigs going on.
He's playing someone that ostensibly should be like hot based on how people treat him. Al Pacino looks
he's
so rough.
old as shit at this point.
And he is playing, I mean, he is technically correct in playing Insomnia as like being just catatonic.
Right.
Like that is how things would actually go. You would just be like a zombie by the end, but that is not the funnest Pacino.
You get a little bit of it here and there, but he is mostly just that's just a zombie.
But the thing is, just like if you're gonna have Pacino in your film, I want him to go like crazy. I want him to lose his mind and have like at least 1 or 2 big freak out Al Pacino scenes.
You get like one that's like a little bit
so like muted. Everything about this movie is gray.
And I think
muted.
I think by the 21st century, he had just reached a stage of his career and a stage of by no fault of his own. I mean, kind of fault of his own because of cocaine, but like the way his face looked, like it's like base shots of him. There are a lot of longer shots of him in this, which is like Nolan respecting a master, but like you can't read what he's going for sometimes. Like you cannot read the emotional shift that he is trying to display in a shot. And the result is like kind of funny. The result is you kind of being like, what is Pacino cooking in this shot right now?
It's so I think we need to just like spoil the movie to really talk about it. So we're going to spoil the movie. Don't listen if you don't want to know plot details. But essentially what happens is in the fog of them chasing serial killer Robin Williams.
Is he a serial or just a killer?
Well, it's not a serial killer because he only killed one person.
Yeah, but it's implied that he like writes about murder and he like writes about his own murders. Like it's kind of implied that his books are based on him actually killing people.
No, I didn't get that. No,
I think because he gives the whole monologue about like it was just she just made me mad.
So he just ran out. That's why he ran out of ideas, and he was like, I guess
the thing is, he's like, listen, I showed her my cock, and she fucking laughed at me, and I think that among us would not.
I think that the thing is, I don't think it's implied that he has killed in the past. I think it's implied that he will kill again.
Right.
I think that's where more of the implication comes. Is that it's just like the worst part was how easy it was. That's the kind of shit that like the beginning of a serial killer would say.
The key kind of big, I guess big spoiler here is that Al Pacino kills his partner. Like that's kind of like I guess.
After one rushed scene in a diner in a hotel lobby, and I had to rewind the scene because I kind of spaced out for a little bit. I was like, oh, they're internal affairs? What are they talking about right now in this side plot? And then that becomes the central thing of the movie.
It is so important.
All of this
information that is treated as nothing, it becomes crucial. And I know you have your laptop in front of you, Hunter. We've been looking at IMDb. I want you to, without looking, to tell me the name of the character actor who plays his partner.
Fuck, I can't remember his name. No, I recognized him as we were watching, I was watching the movie.
Is such we've seen him 1 billion times.
He's that guy.
His name is Martin Donovan.
Yes, I looked him up because I was just
too.
Who the fuck is that guy? Like, I know that I know him from stuff.
He looks like he was in Heat.
He's in Tenet.
Yeah, he was in Tenet. He was the one who tells him about to like let go of things.
He's a great Fed.
He's on the boat. He's Big Little Lies.
He plays a great Fed. He's in Ant-Man.
He's isn't he a Fed in Weeds? Who's he playing Weeds?
I don't know. The name Hap.
Oh my God, he's done so much TV. The name Hap
Eckhart is so funny. Hap. Why do they call him that? Why did they name him Hap?
That's so funny.
So I like him as an actor, but like getting like 49 minutes of like a two-hander of Pacino and him is like
Hap
is tough.
He gets Hilary Swank in there.
I was truly enjoying Hilary Swank. She is playing Clarice Starling.
Yeah. The hair is exactly the same.
Yeah, she's the precocious young
Detective
agent.
Darner. Detective Darner.
We were doing that. She's trying to impress like the cool seasoned vet. But instead of Starling trying to impress the literal murderer, she's just trying to impress Al Pacino, who is a literal murderer, as it turns out. Yeah. And it's a fun. I don't know. It adds some fun plot wrinkles that she is a really good detective, and she is, she's going all out to solve this shit, and he can't figure out if he wants her to. That's cool. That is good.
Yeah,
writing.
It's like, do I want to get caught?
Because he did kill his partner. He, in his heart, it was an accident. He didn't mean to do it, but he becomes.
He's so sleep deprived. Yeah, well, and also he doesn't understand his own memories.
And also his partner thinks that he meant it. You know what I mean? Like,
right. So
he's really fucked up about it. So the closer she gets, he's encouraging her. He's like, no, don't drop this.
Because then it's revealed at the end that he actually implicated someone else in a crime that he was convinced that they had committed.
He did, yeah, exactly. He has done this.
Yeah, like he planted evidence.
He planted evidence on like a pedophile or something.
Something like that. So he's carrying this guilt, and like honestly, we were chatting when we were watching this movie, Drew, about like how much of a pass you can give certain movies that have bad writing, and like how much the other elements can sort of elevate a movie whose writing is not as good. And to me, I think Al Pacino as an actor has so much gravitas that even though this is not even close to being his best performance, he's so talented that he can sell this idea of being tortured with guilt, and that guilt being amplified by this lack of sleep.
By literally, he's like cross-eyed and in this movie from not sleeping.
Literally, like I wrote in my Letterboxd review, this is a Al Pacino try not to sleep challenge. Like that was on set of this movie, is like, because I watched a little on YouTube. You can watch like a little 7.5 minute making of thing that someone uploaded, and Robin Williams is just like cracking jokes on set, and I was like, where was that guy? Where's that guy in this movie? And then Al Pacino's just like, yeah, I'm really taking this role very seriously, and I'm Al Pacino.
Of course, yeah.
He's just so. Robin is just so dry when he comes in, and
he's not very good in this movie.
I think that it's a miscasting.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah, it's just not him at his best. We'll get into recaging couch because I got the recasting for Pacino literally right. You looked up who it was supposed to be, and I was just right. But Robin, there's just better options here, and it's weird because, like you said, he's good in 1 Hour Photo. He is.
Mm-hmm. He's creepy.
I think a lot of it is in the writing. Like he doesn't have time to be weird or creepy in this because he's just like a device. Like
he's there to advance the Al Pacino character.
Exactly.
That's what he is there for. He doesn't actually. He's not a real character at all.
I thought it was. I don't know.
Did you get the feeling that they didn't want to cross a line with having Robin Williams in this movie? Because like. The man's a pedophile.
Show him murder.
Like, he definitely is a pedophile, and they never actually want to specifically call him out on that. They're like, look, he was a friend to her whenever she really needed it. It's like, he is literally hanging out with a high schooler. Like, he is go full creepo with it. Like, maybe that is a studio note. Maybe that was just like Robin didn't want to cross that certain line with people.
It's in his contract.
Yeah, he's like, I can't be like, I'm known as like this lovable guy. I can't cross that into like,
that's a good point.
Like they should have gone further with, if you're not going to make him like a full fleshed out character, then make him despicable.
Yeah,
so we hate him
because he should be like the jolt of energy that we need like 50 minutes into the movie, because he brings a ton of plot into it. He calls Pacino and you hear his voice and you're like, there's Robin. And the first like 3 or 4 times that he calls Robin, the conversations suck. It's literally him just being like, Insomnia, huh? Like he somehow
have the lamb stop screaming.
Yeah, it's very unimaginative. You know what I mean? He calls just to talk with Al about like the theme of the movie. Like, give me something else.
You were thinking that maybe he was a figment of his imagination, which would have been cool.
That would have been a better.
It would have been fun. And that, I mean, Nolan would have done that absolutely.
Yeah, they're like, Chris, please make a normal movie.
Chris, he's real.
We're going to give you
real,
Batman.
Chris.
Real quick, because we talked about Hilary Swank, I did want to correct that she had already won a Best Actress at this point in 2002.
In the 90s?
Yeah, Boys Don't Cry was 1999.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the timeline of that. So
also, I fucked up. There are several posters with her above the title.
Not the main though.
Not the main.
I know not the main, but they did. There are some that do have her.
Well, Boys Don't Cry was, an indie flick.
Yeah, absolutely. No, so
good movie. Well, fucked up movie.
In hindsight, very problematic.
No doubt. But in 1999, it's like, oh my God, this is so like woke and it's ahead of its time. So Hilary Swank is like she has one of the most fascinating careers that I don't know if it's worthy of a full career arc series, unless it was just a mini series about her, but of how on top of the world she was. Like, if you go back to Boys Don't Cry, like breakthrough on the scene in 1999, she wins Best Actress. Then she's in The Gift, The Affair of the Necklace. I don't know what that is. Insomnia, The Core.
The Core.
Dude, The Core. Fast forward a couple years later, $1 Million Baby, where she wins Best Actress and that wins Best Picture. That movie is like a parody of itself. If you guys have seen $1 Million Baby lately, it has not aged great.
Haven't seen ever.
It literally has, the bit, I think it was in a Scary Movie or something like that, where she like is in the ring and then she trips over and then falls and like breaks her neck on the chair.
Cool.
What if I told you that's exactly what happens in the movie $1 Million Baby?
And it's very dramatic. And shocking.
It's very melodramatic.
Then Freedom Riders,
Black Dahlia, Freedom Riders, P.S. I Love You. And then it just kind of falls off a fucking cliff.
New Year's
and she's
Eve?
just not in any. Yeah. Well, what is that? New Year's Eve?
It's like a rom-com, one of those big ensemble rom-coms.
Okay. I don't know what happened to it. And then she popped up again, Logan Lucky.
Yeah. Great movie.
I've heard
great movie.
But,
I'll ride for that movie all day.
But the thing is, like, she was literally like the A-lister. People were like, she's going to be the next Meryl. We thought that she was just going to be in our life for the next like 20 plus years. And then kind of Cate Blanchett came onto the scene in the late 2000s. And just kind of took that mantle from her. And like I feel like Cate Blanchett kind of started getting a lot of the roles that Hilary Swank was up for.
There just aren't a ton to go around.
What if Hilary Swank was Lydia Tarr? Does it work?
No way.
Same.
Steve Soderbergh produced Insomnia.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
And like, it didn't say the Clune bag?
Yeah, he shared the title card.
I did see the Clooney.
He shares a title card with George Clooney. So I don't know. Sometimes you get like a newcomer like Nolan being propped up by a little bit of a more established,
Soderbergh
I mean,
fucked with Memento.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That happens like all the time. Like, look at the 3 guys who produced Whiplash. Like, it was Jason Reitman, who was it? It's like it's 3 incredible producers and stuff like that. They're just trying to find like the next big guy prop up.
Yeah, Swank. I've heard good things about The Homesman with Tommy Lee Jones. That was like a little movie from a couple of years ago. Then she does a Netflix movie called I Am Mother, and then The Hunt.
I Am Mother.
Oh, I remember The Hunt.
that was one of those like big COVID, like as the pandemic was happening.
Like, dude, this is like actually the poor is going to eat the rich, or the rich is going to eat the poor.
But yeah, I think she's talented, and I would love for her to have a comeback, because, you know, Hollywood is historically, you know, not very kind to women as they age, and I think that she could have had a better, she could have had a better career.
Yeah. I mean, she got her 2 Oscars, but I would like to see her make a comeback. That'd be great. When in 2002 did this get released? I was trying to find it.
I think early.
Oh, was this early on?
Summer.
Oh, yeah, May. Okay.
That's a weird.
It is. It feels like it should be a fall release, but I don't know. Have you guys like looked at the 2002 release schedule in November and December for whatever reason for fun recently? Because it is insane. It makes sense why they would just push this to be a summer movie for like
Spider-Man,
one, trying to make money. No, okay, so this is just starting first week of November. Santa Claus 2, Punch Drunk Love is November 1st.
Oh, the end.
November 8th, 8 Mile. November 15th, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. November 22nd, Die Another Day, Friday After Next. November 27th, 8 Crazy Nights, which was a huge fucking hit. Solaris, Treasure Planet.
Let's go.
Hold on, wait. December is even more nuts, though. Analyze That, December 6th. Equilibrium, Adaptation, Empire. December 13th, Drumline, The Hot Chick. Star Trek Nemesis, About Schmidt.
We used to
December
be a country.
18th, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Yeah. December 19th, Antoine Fisher and 25th Hour. December 20th, Gangs of New York, 2 Weeks Notice, The Wild Thornberrys movie. December 25th, Catch Me If You Can.
Jesus
December 27th,
Christ.
Chicago, The Hours, and The Pianist.
Oh my God.
It's literally, well, a lot of that is due to a lot of it's due to what we talked about like last week or week before about 9/11, because everything got pushed that was supposed to come out in 2001 to 2002. But like
9/11, that is the original COVID.
Yeah. What was worse, really? Come on.
Yeah, COVID was like 14 9/11.
Here's the thing: is like 9/11, like a lot more people died.
Was like 1,000 9/11.
So much more.
Jesus Christ!
And you guys want me to fucking recognize your little holiday every year?
Never forget
every day of every year I mourn.
Yeah, no, it was just nuts. I was looking at that the other day because I don't remember what I was looking at, some movie that was a 2002 release, and I was like, holy hell, the amount of movies that were all coming back, which now in hindsight with COVID, people are just going to stretch it out a couple years. Like the problem with last year was that people were wanting to stretch out their movies for too long. And that's why Top Gun Maverick just dominated the box office for 3 months, because nothing else came out. I
mean, look at the past month.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Scream, Shazam is coming. John Wick is coming.
Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, which is it's a bad movie for Marvel standards as far as finances, but still over $100 million grossing movie. Like
O2
is nuts. Yeah. O2 is a crazy fucking
you didn't even mention like Lilo and Stitch.
Oh yeah,
Minority Report.
Well, I didn't even look at the earlier on in the year.
Signs.
Yeah, it's an insane year.
Scooby-Doo.
Dude, Scooby-Doo rules.
They should
Born Identity.
They should have waited for Max
Born
Keeble.
film.
Yeah.
So bummed about that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Keeble got fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie it's interesting because I do think you guys are right that like with something like Tenet or even Dark Knight Rises, I think that both of those movies are arguably less successful in what they're trying to do, but they're trying to do something. And this movie is just kind of, it's like, so it's trying to be a 7 out of 10. Like it's for what it's aiming for is just like lower. And it's a bummer. Because I think we could
very easily could be better.
I think that I want to do a do-over with this movie. Because I think that if we just get a better writer in there, we get a better cast in there, then this suddenly, like, what if David Fincher makes this movie in 2023? That shit would rule. You know, this would go so hard.
It's in black and white.
Yeah.
And it's starring Gary Oldman.
It starred Mank. Yeah. Mank is actually hunting down Mank. And instead of Insomnia, it's about alcoholism.
Honestly, that would rule. That would be great.
Insomnia, but every character is Mank.
So yeah, overall, what else do we want to say about this movie? It is
categories.
I know. I want to say generally, you're right. I don't I don't hate this movie. I dislike movies that to me are not bad or not good. And to me, that's an overall negative. So for that reason, to me, I wouldn't recommend this movie.
I think I'm kind to Nolan. I think he's just one of those guys.
Nolan apologist.
Yeah, that I'm just like, I just like all his movies and I appreciate the tone that he goes for. And yeah, I would probably say this is probably his weakest movie, but he starts a run here that is unprecedented, and that run doesn't happen if this movie is bad.
Yeah.
This movie has to work for that run to happen.
And he does he is the best part of the movie. He does a good job of directing it. Yeah. Like I said, he lets Pacino cook. A lot more long shots of like an actor acting than I've seen in any other Nolan movie, where he's letting the camera run because Pacino is in a space where no one can say shit to him.
He didn't sleep for like 7 days.
He's just like Pacino. That's one thing about him at this point, even if he's past his prime and sometimes like kind of making you laugh, no one can tell him no to anything. So that's good overall. It's good when actors enter this space because they're able to make like weird choices. He is making bizarre choices throughout this movie. And some of them really, really work because he is playing a guy who's like zonked out of his fucking mind. So when the movie tracks, it works. It's just missing that special sauce, I think.
Yeah, I do think, but like it's missing it overall. But I do think that there are great moments in here. Even there's like some of the corny stuff did work for me. Like the fucking shithead boyfriend, Randy. I love that guy. That guy is like straight up out of just like
the greaser boyfriend.
Yeah. It's like he's straight up a character from Twin Peaks right there. Like that is just like really just like I love him. I love the best friend who's trying to fuck Al Pacino in the car whenever they're together.
Yeah, it's like
such a weird
that leads to
he's so ugly.
It leads to like the only true Pacinoism in the film where he goes, he takes her to the dump and he says, "This is where your best friend's naked body was found, wrapped up in garbage bags."
That dump scene was good.
It was
it's great.
That was awesome.
I was like, all right, now we're awake now. We got to go.
I wanted more. If this movie wanted to be cool, the way that he would deal with insomnia is by doing cocaine.
Yeah. Honestly, just embrace it. Just like, go for it.
Genuinely. Yeah. That would be a great
element. We said when they were in the ferry together and they were like facing each other, I was like, this is a try not to do coke challenge for the two.
Robin and Al just both just like gotta do fiending for coke.
I think maybe the problem was that Nolan actually like replaced all of the cocaine backstage with like barbiturates. So now they're just like sleepy out there, sleepwalking through their seats.
It is an all-time nose matchup between the two.
Oh yeah,
great. Like that shot, it's a silhouette shot. They're facing each other. It's like, damn. I mean, Robin is upstaging him. Obviously, his nose has never been bigger. It's so big.
Why wasn't that the poster? The silhouette of their two noses to each other.
Touching.
Where's Letterboxd with the alternate posters? Can we have that one? Like a fan-made one?
The only other good one was Pacino in The Fog.
That's what the Blu-ray cover is. The Blu-ray that I have is Pacino in the Fog.
See, I kept saying this when we watched the movie, and like The Fog is a metaphor for his state of mind because his mind is fogged. You know, it's very deep. Chris Nolan's a talented filmmaker.
It's Jesus Christ, Ernest. I can't. Ernie, you're making this sound. You're making my opinion this worse by saying this.
He was like the dead dog is a metaphor for the dead girl.
Yeah. No, I was saying no. I said it's a metaphor for the dead partner that he killed.
Partner, no.
It's just, and I think that you were right, Hunter, that such a key misstep in this script is the information about his internal affairs shit becoming so important when it's not treated as important. So you are straight up confused for a lot of the movie.
I had to rewind the scene because I was like, I feel like this is important.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying attention.
You know, sometimes you just got to let things go. You just got to be like, you know what? I'm confused. Whatever.
So this is the problem with
just
Tenet.
vibe.
And this is why Tenet is not a good movie.
Just every scene Hunter's rewinding. Yeah. It's like that. You're not going to get nowhere, buddy.
It made sense to me whenever I was
rewinding it. You're like,
oh, that's it. I can see the scene now.
You know what I've been doing recently is I'm playing God of War and I like fall asleep while I'm playing. So I'm like, obviously I can't move my hands on the controller if I'm like asleep, right? So I turn it off and I put on Tenet. And the other night I was watching like the final battle, and I was like, I have no idea what's happening in this. Like,
how often do you watch Tenet?
Just in the past week. Just in the past week, I just decided that this was something I was going to do because it's Nolan season, baby. We got to get hyped for Oppenheimer. Let's go. So I'm watching Tenet and I'm like, I don't understand like who these guys are. Like, why are they fighting each other?
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
They're just moving backwards and it's cool.
Tenet, I remember the important things about Tenet, which is it looks cool. It's a vibe. It's stupid as hell. Bob Patty and Washington are cool. They're so cool.
I think that they're cool. I think I don't care what anybody says. That movie thinks that it's smarter than it is.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's kind of my problem with a lot of Nolan stuff is at least like if you're gonna be dumb, just be dumb. Be fucking John Wick. Just punch each other. Like that's cool. I fucking love John Wick. We'll talk about that later on about the new John Wick movie, which I think fucking rules. But like I don't want you to like pretend like you are like high class art when you can just be dumb and that's fine. I want you like call a spade a spade. I
don't know if Nolan will ever reach that
quick
level.
Nolan check-in. Where are you guys at? What is your Nolan rankings? Your top 5?
I mean, Prestige is always number 1.
Prestige number 1. That's correct. That's the correct answer.
I am waiting for the moment to rewatch that this year. It's going to happen.
Dark Knight is always going to be my number 1. I can't.
Yeah,
change.
that's 2. That's 2 for me.
I feel like I need to rewatch Dark Knight. I have it at 4. I think it's because it became like kind of too important. There was like a period of time where it was like the number 1 movie on like IMDb
that's the thing is you have to drown out the noise.
Well, that's like, not that.
Yeah, for a while, and it also it took off during a crucial period of Reddit growing, and Reddit was just wildly obsessed with it.
I mean, that movie, that's an incredible movie.
But it's phenomenal. I also, I saw it in theaters at like a crucial point in life. The exact year that you would want to see that movie is when you're 13.
Yeah.
Also the hype building up to it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Then I have Dunkirk.
Dunkirk 2? I have Dunkirk 3 on mine. I love Dunkirk.
No, 3.
Oh, you have Dunkirk
Prestige,
at 3.
Dark Knight, Dunkirk.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, I also have Dunkirk at 3. Dunkirk fucking rules.
It's so good.
Dunkirk is a movie where it's just like there is no plot, so Nolan can't get in his own way. And I kind of like that. Yeah. Like it's just like, man, this movie is just
visceral.
Rules. I have Memento at number 2.
You know what?
Need to rewatch Memento.
Memento is a movie that it's convoluted, but like it's kind of the best version of that because there isn't like a lot of extra noise happening around the actual plot itself. And the plot itself is like pretty straightforward. It's just like copy cut and just pasted around. So then you have to put the puzzle pieces together. But I think that is the best version of the like putting the pieces of the puzzle together outside the Prestige, of course, because the Prestige is the whole thing of the Prestige is kind of the illusionary aspects of it. Yeah. I need to rewatch Interstellar, to be honest.
I'm just going to say my full list. So number 1, Prestige, Dark Knight, Dunkirk, Inception at 4.
I love Inception.
Batman Begins, Interstellar, Memento, Tenet, Dark Knight Rises, Insomnia following.
Yeah, mine is Prestige 1, Memento 2, Dunkirk 3, Dark Knight 4, Batman Begins 5, Inception, Interstellar. I need to rewatch both of those, to be honest. And then I think he does have a clear bottom 3, taking out the following, just because that is like a micro budget film. I think it's Dark Knight Rises, Insomnia, Tenet in some order is the bottom 3.
Yeah, checks out.
I have Mank at number 1. Cool.
Number 2, Mank.
I don't have rankings, you fucking dorks.
Oh. Somebody's not a letterbox.
I'll just say I appreciate the full Nolan Like I appreciate when he was just the most in his bag, which is like the Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar era. Like
such a run.
Those are awesome movies. They're really they're dumb as hell. It doesn't matter. I like there wasn't and isn't anyone else making anything like that, because you have to have free reign.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have free reign, and you have to be directing and writing for those movies to work.
Yeah.
And there are only like 10 people who have that right now with that budget.
Yeah.
He's making these movies for so much money. They're original scripts. Like, that's cool. There's been a sort of a relitigation of Interstellar that I appreciate.
I rewatched it recently.
4K.
It's because people realize that love transcends time.
It does.
And just like, I don't know, we've realized the alternative in terms of like big budget space movies.
And big budget original storytelling too. It just kind of feels like such a gem to hold on to.
Probably Matthew McConaughey's best performance.
It's just
he's incredible in that movie.
It just becomes an issue of it's almost like an M. Night thing, although Nolan has obviously cashed his potential check more than M. Night has. But it's like, if you're, seeing his early career and you're holding him up as the next guy, which Nolan wants to be, obviously, he wants to be known as a great filmmaker. You're going to want to point out all the flaws in his movies, because there are really blatant, glaring flaws that he has not repaired.
Yeah. Usually are script related things.
Yeah. And
that's kind of, it makes it funny that we're like, the most critical thing about Insomnia is that he didn't write the script.
I wish he wrote it.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing.
It really, it made me appreciate his writing more, because there is more of a floor to it. I'm not counting like Dunkirk and Tenet, because those, like I said, those have a different style to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Where he's weirdly, Tenet is such a mess, because he's willing to loosen his grip in certain areas and then not in the most complicated ways. And it's like, you need to, if ever there were a movie for you to explain more, it would be this one.
Well, that's why I'm so curious about Oppenheimer.
Well, it looks like it's going to be an Oscar movie. Like, he's trying to almost do like a biopic.
I think it's going to be more like Dunkirk flavored, where less dialogue than your average Nolan. Like Dunkirk was,
really? You think it's going to be less?
But here's the thing.
I think it's going to be more. I think that actually could be a decent amount of dialogue, but I think it's going to be his most down the middle.
No,
movie.
I guess I shouldn't say dialogue. I should say less plot, like less big events. Like it's going.
Well, he sets off a nuclear bomb. I don't know if you know that.
It's also a biopic.
That's who Oppenheimer
it's a biopic about a real person. There's not gonna be. I'm sure he'll find a way, but there doesn't seem to be any big sci-fi time warping elements.
That's what
we'll
saying.
see.
Like,
we'll see what he can do to reinvent the Oppenheimer
It's
story.
gonna have to be more grounded than fucking Tenet. Like the only comparison is
Dunkirk.
in his recent like 2 decades is Dunkirk. But I feel like it's going to be smaller scale, even though by the end a nuke will go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of it's going to be him in the Manhattan Project in a bunker designing this shit and like becoming Death Destroyer of Worlds. Will that be good? I hope. I'm not 100% sure it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not, because
it might be a thing where it just
mid-tier.
Yeah, it could just be like a thing where it's like, man, it's Nolan. Like it might be a thing where like maybe he isn't good at playing the game if he does like sand down his edges a little bit too much. I don't want him to do
maybe
that.
We'll watch and wish that it were more like convoluted. Seriously, genuinely, because I've truly come to appreciate how like insane his writing and plot structures are, because it's just like, why not, like, have your fun, write like a stupid little puzzle and I'll watch it, I don't know if he can do that with the story of Robert Oppenheimer. I don't think that's in the cards.
I just wonder what the in is for him, because Tenet seemed like a passion project. Like Tenet seemed like he'd been building his entire career to make this weird fucking idea of a movie. He makes it, he exits Warner Brothers, goes to Universal. Is Universal telling him like, hey, we'll let you make whatever you want, but it has to be like something more grounded? Or does he just get to do whatever he wants and he picks this?
I think he gets kind of carte blanche. Yeah. Like, honestly, I think that he is probably, outside of like the legacy directors, so your Spielbergs, your Ridley Scotts, James Camerons, I think that he has more free reign than any other director in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, even Tenet, that movie was released in the height of the pandemic and it made over $100 million. I think,
and it's like stupid as fuck.
It ended up it didn't like make money. It kind of, I feel like, ended up being sort of a wash. I haven't checked the finances on that recently, but yeah, I think that's this. Outside of Tenet, all of his movies are deeply successful, no matter how fucking weird they are. So
he apparently, according to Wikipedia, he already had this project in mind as his next project.
Yeah,
he went around to the studios and he was like, "This is the movie I'm making next. Yeah. Will you buy it?"
He's obviously very interested in like World War II era history, as many middle-aged men on the spectrum are.
Yeah. British. He is a British man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got that bag. And also, what if here's my pitch. It's sort of like, you know, how like every filmmaker's movie is really a movie about filmmaking. This movie is about him making Tenet.
Oh my God.
Tenet is the nuclear bomb.
I am Tenet, destroyer of films.
That's so funny.
Yeah. He made the movie to end all movies.
What if it's actually like the nuclear bomb is going to explode and destroy the film of Barbie? So he destroys his competition.
Oh my God. Gary Oldman is returning as Mank.
In
Oppenheimer.
In Oppenheimer?
Yeah,
he's
reviving his
Oh my God. Thank God.
Yeah.
A co-pro between him and Fincher.
He was involved with the nuke.
But not David Fincher, like Fincher's dad. Who wrote Mank?
No, Gary Oldman actually is in the movie. You guys want to guess who he plays?
Albert Einstein.
Did you just read it?
No, I did not see it.
Albert Einstein?
No.
Oh.
Is he a president?
You did read it.
No,
you?
I didn't. Is he FDR?
Truman.
Oh, he's Truman. Oh, that makes no FDR. That would be bad casting, especially because it's the wrong Roosevelt.
Yeah, that's
It's the wrong one.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Facts. DiCaprio gets to play all Roosevelts.
Leonardo kind of looks like Gary Oldman's grandfather. So
what happens in Oppenheimer is the nuke sets off like a string of portals, and then different presidents enter through the portals, and we all clap when Teddy Roosevelt, Leonardo DiCaprio, enters through the portal. That's definitely
Daniel Day-Lewis. Lincoln comes through. The crowd's like, yeah!
Oh my God, is that J. Edgar Hoover?
It's Paul Giamatti as John Adams.
Yeah, is that John Goodman as William Howard Taft?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Audience just fucking weeping. Like years of payoff.
Is that Lin-Manuel Miranda as Alexander Hamilton?
Oh my God, Donald Trump just drop kicked Hillary Clinton out of the screen.
Oh man,
is that Gary Oldman as Barack Obama?
Listen, he's versatile. He's a versatile actor.
To do that.
Listen, he played a black guy in True Romance. No one wants to talk about this.
Well,
I'll talk about it.
I have one last note about the film Insomnia that we're still talking about. One of the moments that's like, it's so bad that I love it is Kay's partner at the detective agent guy who's like bad in the entire movie. And then he goes to the bar at the very end and he's like, who has two thumbs and loves blowjobs? This guy.
That was insane.
It was like, what happened? Did that actor just come up with that? He's like,
he invented that.
Chris, I have an idea for this scene. Just let me cook.
You have to keep it in the movie.
And Chris is just like, I don't care.
I know.
I just want to go make my Batman movie. Yeah. Can we please wrap pro?
It was so out of place. It was such an O2 moment. I think that's what you said in the when we watched it, Ernie. It's as if he had just been like, hey guys, what's up?
It's the same energy.
I just looked up Gary Oldman True Romance and what the fuck?
Bro, those dreads.
I've never seen this movie.
Good.
This is insane. Holy shit.
No one is talking
it's
about
like,
this.
Honestly, it's the same energy as Jared Leto in Panic Room, where it's like, what are you doing?
Fair.
Right
Oldman
now?
also plays a little person in that Tiptoes, the movie with Matthew McConaughey, where like
he's one of our most versatile actors that we have.
He literally is just always like behind something.
No. No,
you haven't seen that?
Oh my God.
Oh, it's another 2002 release.
I should have put this in the pot
Well, oh my God.
Insane.
What is this?
Can we watch Tiptoes?
Wait, is this, why is there Peter Dinklage on there?
Guys.
Peter Dinklage defends Tiptoes.
Listen, it's a rom-drom from the early 2000s.
Oh no.
Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey and Kate Beckinsale are like a couple, and he goes to meet her, or I think, yeah, he goes to meet her family, and she's like, yeah, there's just this one thing. My family's all little people. And like the whole movie is just about that. And he's like, I can't believe you didn't tell me this. Like, I was gonna have kids with you. Like, he's like, upset about it.
No.
Gary Oldman is playing a little person.
Patty Arquette.
The way that they work it around is Gary Oldman is usually just like behind a bar or something. So he's just
on his
literally
knees.
on his knees. He's doing like the sneakers on knees
there's
trick
like
that
wide,
you do when you're a kid.
There's like wide shots, so he's just like kneeling down completely.
Yes.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Fuck. The trailer is the craziest thing you'll ever see in your life.
There's
It's
like
so
a
cool.
shot of him sitting on a couch, and he's definitely like buried into the couch with fake
his legs are under the couch.
Oh, yeah, you can see on the
He looks like Kermit the Frog. He looks like a Muppet.
He looks like a Muppet. Yeah, just
It is so fucking funny.
This is fucked up.
They made this.
we gotta watch this film. We need to
bring back the early 2000s.
Yeah, they just got away with everything.
Mm-hmm.
The woke mob shut down the ability for Gary Oldman to play a dwarf.
Jesus fucking Christ.
He has played different races. He has played he has played different heights. He has played different weights.
He's played different names,
different ages,
different decades,
different Manx.
Yeah,
different Manx.
What can he not do?
I think he might be our most versatile actor. Gary Oldman series next.
I think he definitely thinks he is.
The funniest thing, man, a Gary Oldman series would be so funny because it's just like, man, I really like the 12 minutes of screen time that he had in this movie.
Yeah.
You'd never want Gary Oldman as your lead. Unless he's Mank. That's the only time that you want Gary Oldman as your lead.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that we don't say the same thing about Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer.
Hey, we love Peaky.
I love a good Peaky Blinder. You know what? I hope that movie's good just because we've only now talked about 2 Nolan movies on this podcast, and they've been Tenet and Insomnia, 2 of like bottom tier Nolan movies.
We talked about Dunkirk like early on.
Did we?
Like, that was like one of the first episodes.
Oh, okay. All right. So I guess we did talk about one good Nolan, but
yeah.
For the most part, we're kind of sticking on like the worst parts of Nolan.
All right. Let's get to the Cage Gories.
Okay.
We've barely talked about Robin Williams this episode.
There's not
what is
to
the
talk
best
about, bro.
Robinism? Is there even
I like
one?
that it's implied that he has sex with child.
I think I liked his monologue when he finally at least like gets, talks about the fucked up shit he did.
Yeah. Or whenever is that the same time where he's just like, listen, it was an accident with Hap, just like it was with Kay.
Oh, yeah,
like that part. Yeah,
I like his monologue where he's like, yeah, like it. It's not like the doing it that fucks you up. It's like the fact that it's been done. He's like, it's an awareness. Of how fragile
what
life
I like?
is.
I'll go with the interrogation scene.
The interrogation scene rules.
At the cop, at the police station, because like that scene is, it's a nice little kind of double flavor of that he's guilty, but he's doing a little bit of the Robin thing to fool the cops into thinking
he's busting out the charm in that scene.
So
but like
he busts out like all his impressions. You're like, this guy.
He does a great impression of a hot dog.
No, like there are scenes where he shines, but most of the time he literally is just like, can't sleep, eh?
He's also just not in the movie enough.
Yeah.
Those phone calls suck shit. They're trying to do the Starling, have the lamb stop screaming yet, and they're failing so hard.
It just doesn't,
because he's not scary.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Best moment in the movie.
In the whole movie?
Yeah.
Probably the chase scene, the log.
Logs. Yeah.
The logs.
Well, just in terms of like actual good moment, yeah.
That's a great
that whole
scene.
sequence
It's
is
well
really
directed.
great, really fun.
Also, as a runner-up, the fog.
The initial fog.
Yeah. And running on the jagged rocks. Al Pacino definitely had a stunt double for the ankle shots of running on those rocks.
Some low shots, and that's not him.
And this to me is where Nolan like gets Batman. You know what I mean? Because there isn't a ton of action in this. A lot of the time he's just shooting a flat noir movie. But the end sequence, which could be pretty boring because like it's not like a bunch of tension has been built for us to care. But I thought it was really well shot. The action of it looks very cool. You get a good sense of location of where they are in the cabin
in Alaska.
Yeah, they're up in the cabin, and then she falls underneath into the water. Like that's a good sequence. It's really well directed, and it proves that he can play with money. You know what I mean? That final sequence of like the house on the lake, they built all that. It looks like it makes sense. That was all really well done.
Yeah,
it looks great.
I like all that. I like the inclusion of the dogs and everything. There is just like that as like an alarm for him to like hear that somebody else is coming up. That was all really cool. I do love the sequence of the interrogation scene into like Al Pacino, like he's like, I gotta get out, so he like races over to the kid Randy's house and is like trying to find the heater, and then the cops are coming in, and so he has to hide in the bathroom and everything. That's a great scene. I like that whole sequence.
He's like half asleep the whole time. Like,
also, like those cops are bad. The first thing that you should do if you go into a house is you open up all the closed doors to see if somebody's there with a gun to kill you.
They find a gun in a vat of oil before they open the door.
I thought at least like sneak out through a window or something like that. Like those cops are terrible. No wonder they have to like ship in detectives from the mainland.
That's another thing we were talking about a lot. It's just piss poor cops. At one point,
they're too busy getting blowjobs and having two thumbs, man. I don't know what you want.
Pacino calls the station just as like a random number. He calls the police station. He's like, Detective Hilary Swank, please. Like, they don't know who's calling. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, actually, she just went out. She's going to the cabin to...
I gotta go.
Why would you just tell anyone? And he just hangs up.
I gotta go see about it.
Just giving all of the information to just whoever the hell calls in.
This movie is a cab.
Pacino grumbling like random things, half asleep.
I was right, by the way. They shot in British Columbia, which makes sense. It makes the most sense on Earth to me that this was based on like a
so not actually in Alaska.
No, they did. It was a mix.
But it makes sense that they did actually. You're right, but It makes so much sense to me that this is based on a Scandinavian movie because former roommates of the pod, Nate and Nikki, they for some reason watch a ton of movies that like Netflix has a stranglehold on Scandinavian movies right now, and they all look like this, where it's like there will be a location that's just like gorgeous, like tree covered mountains, and then just like one cabin in the middle of it, and it's like, does that guy have a permit? Like, does he own what tract of land does he own? Like, how does that work?
There's no road.
You can't. You can't just like live there.
I have seen.
It's like in fucking Bicentennial Man when he's just like on the beach.
Yeah, it's just like I don't think you can just live there.
Own the beach.
That's why there's a lot of murder in Scandinavia.
So I've been doing this thing. I don't know why. This is like a new thing that Guy and I will do whenever we're just like doing something in like the background. We just put on YouTube videos of like guys building cabins.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Of just like 45 minutes of just like a guy building a cabin. Like usually just some good lumber being put on there. There's always like a dog that's just running around.
The video's the entire process. Like by the end, there's no cabin at the beginning.
And then there's a full-on cabin at the end. And sometimes there's a second video that's then them doing the inside. I like the exterior personally more. No, but a lot of times there's like, we just found this spot and we're just gonna on the mountainside and we're just gonna build this cabin here. It's like, well, do you own this land or did you just like find a place in the Appalachian Mountains and you're like, all right, time to squat up. This is my land.
Are you going to get power out there?
You're like fully off the grid, like off the grid. Like you don't own any of this. I don't know if you can do that.
I think you're allowed to do that.
What's next?
What would you do, fellas? WYD.
Who am I?
You're the innkeeper.
You are Randy. You're Randy, the boyfriend.
How have we not talked about the famous innkeeper character?
Here's the thing. You're either born in Alaska or you come to Alaska to run away from something. I wasn't born here.
It's like, bitch, what did you do?
So did her and Al fuck that night? Is that implied?
No, he does confess to a murder.
That was so weird.
But
he just walks into her bedroom?
No. Well, she just walks into his bedroom, but then you see the next morning she's sleeping in his bed.
That's his bed?
Yeah, that's in his bed.
Oh, hey, now. That was not clear.
So
again, you got to cast someone hotter.
Yeah, like I'm not buying that.
It's a stupid ass fucking character. Also, the inn, no blackout curtains. You know where you are.
Yeah.
The inn has always been in Alaska.
There 100% are blackout curtains.
It is so bright all the time. Like, he's right to be like tripping out and covering his windows and shit. She's like, oh yeah, we've never had that issue before. Like, what?
Here's the thing. In Al's defense, like, the lack of circadian rhythm would fuck me.
Yeah, it would.
So
it would
hard.
ruin
like,
your shit.
I could not. Well, especially, I mean, this would suck and would be annoying, but blackout curtains could at least give you a little bit of that stimulation.
It's
when
the worst
winter
curtain I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like the thinnest. It's basically like a piece of paper up there. Whenever it's like dark for 4 months out of the year, I would just straight up want to kill myself. Like, I could not survive up there where it's just dark all the time.
Yeah.
Listeners of the pod who live in the darkness, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You try to go on a walk and it's just like,
I hated
just daylight.
Living in Florida, I hated getting off of work at 6 o'clock and it was dark outside. So I'm like, thank God it's at least daylight savings time.
I genuinely can't even handle that without becoming very depressed.
Yeah,
so it would fuck me up. And like I said, Al is playing things more true to life than maybe he should, because he's like, it's like he's on pills the whole movie.
If you're Hilary Swank and you're doing your best to do this job, you know, to just be a good cop, and this guy comes in fucking shit up, killing his partner, like, you know, maybe you call his supervisor.
That's the thing. He's so, because he's tired, he is so obviously sus the whole movie.
Yeah.
She'll be like, hey, look, I found this piece of evidence. He's like, anyway,
I gotta go.
No, the way that he talks to
leaves,
I gotta see.
That's where I get out of here.
It was always made me laugh whenever you hear it like twice. The internal affairs cop like calls Al, and like Al very clearly just murdered this guy, and he's just like, I know what you did, Al, you gotta come through. And he's like, why are you even calling me here? It's like, what are you doing? What is fucking, like, of course you murdered him. Like, you weren't even doing a good job of hiding it. So what are you doing? You're Randy. Your girlfriend's dead.
Yeah. You're sleeping with her friend.
Yeah, you were accused of murder.
Everyone thinks that I'm a piece of shit when my GF was fucking a predator.
Yeah, but you were fucking her friend too. Yeah. This is literally Twin Peaks. This is quite literally the plot of Twin Peaks that they just are also fully ripping off of and putting into this.
What am I doing if I'm Randy? I don't know. Probably like not much. I don't. Like, I'm being less of an asshole.
Right.
He's way too much of a dick. He's putting a target on his back. Yeah. Pacino should have just fully put it on him, and he would have just been able to walk away, but he felt too bad.
What if you're Pacino? If you're sleep deprived, you're trying to work on his case,
dead.
Shoot your friend.
What you're doing is you're being buried, because he does die at the end of this movie, doesn't he?
And it's worth mentioning, I like that he dies, and I like that he tells Swank to, like, he's like, no, like,
you can't choose when you tell the truth.
he's like, let everyone know that I did it. Yeah. Like, I think that's cool. I think that was like a bit of good writing at the end.
I do. Well, and another thing that I liked about that was that she has the choice to kind of do the same thing that Al did.
Yeah.
Like, she has the choice to kind of just. Yeah.
She like wants to.
Yeah.
And he has to talk her out of it.
No, don't lose your edge, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Don't lose your truth.
Let me sleep.
Well, that's finally sleeps. That's the next category, is what happens the day after. So does Robin rise out of the lake as a zombie to exact his revenge?
Probably.
That's probably what happens, right?
Yeah, probably.
Insomnia 2, Return.
Yeah, it's pretty cut and dry here, because Robin's dead, Al's dead, and the girl is dead. It's not like they have to find somebody. Right. Like, it's just Swank is gonna do the right thing and like
Does she stay around? I feel like she probably moves out of Alaska based on how bad the rest of the police force is.
I think no one should live there. Why are they living there?
No, she's called to look at this case involving a Buffalo Bill of sorts.
Okay, all right. Should we call up the French and see if like they have a refund policy?
The French?
Yeah, for Alaska. Like, can we sell Alaska back to them? Like, we don't want it anymore. Let's get rid of this. It's no longer part of the United States.
Canada's right there. Just give it to Canada.
Could we trade? Could we negotiate a trade where like we sell Alaska, that becomes its own thing, and we like buy Puerto Rico or something like that?
It looks gorgeous. It's just not what you expect with the whole sun not going down thing, you know? Okay. Good Robin or bad Robin?
Bad. It's not. I think that he doesn't do a great job. I think that the script sucks for him in particular.
Not great.
He's the worst written part of the movie. But he is also not even given those lines that don't require him to dial it up. I think he still should have, and he didn't.
Yeah, I feel like we defend Robin a lot more than we did like Cage in the Cage series. We're like, it's bad. But like, he's trying, but yeah, it's not good.
It doesn't click.
It's not a good Robin.
It doesn't work. Bad casting.
Yeah.
How many Robins out of 10?
For like how lovable he is?
No, just either or. So yeah, this is we pick either the warmth or the crazy. We get neither.
It's like it's like a 2
it's like a
at
2.
best.
It's so low. It's so low.
Honestly, this might be like a 1. Is there anything warm or crazy about this?
No.
He's kind of like muted the entire time, so you aren't getting the crazy.
It would be
and
great
he's like
if
not,
he was like an Anthony Hopkins situation.
Yeah, he
where
should just be
feels
fucking
the
evil,
movie.
bro.
Yeah, that's the thing is like maybe so it can't be a 1 because the problem is that he's not so cold that he's unforgivable. Like he still has like the Robin effect. They're
trying to make him human, and they shouldn't.
And
just make him super evil.
Or if you're gonna make him human, then don't wait an hour into the movie for us to see him. Develop him more before that.
It's
Like
so stupid.
you gotta choose one of those things.
The behind the scenes video on YouTube a solid 6.
Really?
Of him talking about his experience making the movie and cracking jokes for the cast and crew.
That's great. I'm really glad. I'm gonna watch that.
Finally, recaging couch.
So the recaging for Pacino, because I was like off rip.
You got it.
Off rip, I was like, this is not a Pacino role.
Yeah.
It's not a 2002 Pacino role. I'm sorry. He is not.
It's like a 1982
Yeah,
Pacino
he is not
role.
there. I said Harry Ford, and that was who they went for. It's a Harry Ford role. He's a detective. Harry Ford is inherently like trustable and likable. That's the
Harry
thing.
Ford also
Pacino
naturally has
is
a tired face.
Pacino is so sus and like fucked up looking that like I don't know, you don't see the conflict in the way that you should. This should be a guy who has been clean cut until he did the internal affairs thing, and now things are unraveling.
Yeah,
Pacino just seems like he's been a bad cop forever, just by the way he looks.
Also, they wanted to get Jonathan Demme to direct, which would have just been
that would have ruled so hard.
No, but it would have just been Silence of the Lambs.
It would have been worse
I
Silence.
No, but I mean, just Jonathan Demme though. I feel like the thing is that I actually think it would have been less like Silence of the Lambs if Jonathan Demme was making it, because Jonathan Demme isn't gonna. Jonathan Demme is incredible. He's not going to pay homage to an earlier movie that he made. Right. He's one of the best filmmakers that we have.
That's probably why he didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, but I feel like he would have twisted it more to make it. I think that if Jonathan Demme makes the movie, he fully embraces Robin as a charismatic figure, which that's the opposite direction is what we're saying of making him go full evil. But that's the direction that makes the movie better. Is like, what if it's the Heat situation where like, I hope he gets away with it. That's the other way to take this, where it's like, man, I want to love this guy.
Or at the very least, like he should be, Robin should be more involved with the investigation and have more scenes where he's like charming all the cops. Because that's a fun dynamic of Pacino being like, "Yeah, you fucking that girl."
I do think,
and all the other cops are like, "Hey, this guy's rocks."
That's
I actually
the way,
love him.
And I feel like that might have been why there was the casting of Al Pacino and Robin Williams, is because I think that there's a chance, and I could be wrong here, but I feel like the reason that you cast those two people is because they wanted to make it so that like maybe we don't like Al Pacino the cop, but we do like Robin Williams the killer, and we end up like cheering more for the killer and getting more into his mind than in the detective. But the writing isn't good enough to actually get that.
They couldn't quite work around the fact that he did try to fuck
he did
a teenager,
try to fuck a child, and that's
and
not
then
great.
She laughed at his dick, and he did kill her. So
listen, that's relatable, right?
I would love to see because Harrison Ford, like, he's a swag master, but he was still like pretty old.
Oh yeah, 02. This is like post Fugitive. Like,
I would love to see like a Colin Farrell in this role. Like,
man, 02 Colin Farrell. I feel like you need a little bit older. We need like a 2010, 2012 Colin Farrell in that.
I don't know. I think
he was so young.
I think
he's like a baby.
I think Colin Farrell did enough drugs to like look convincingly older, and you need that level of like kind of sleaze to sell some of the parts of this character that are just like, oh, this guy will just fuck the random innkeeper in Alaska, and also like be creepy with the the girl, the best friend. I think Farrell would knock it out of the park.
Robin,
where is Colin Farrell in 2002?
He did Phone Booth, dude.
That's what. Okay, yeah. No, he's too young in 02 to do this. Young. He's got to be like a little bit older, but
he could play. I think he could play older.
The Robin part needs to go to Kevin Spacey.
Yes,
and it's a runaway.
Yeah,
it's too easy.
K-Space was the immediate person that came
in 2002. He's already done Kaiser Soze.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's
like
coming off of American Beauty.
He is an excellent voice actor. The phone calls are going to be awesome.
From American Beauty, you know that he has a thing for young people.
You buy him as a creep.
And from real life, you know that he has a thing for young people.
Mm-hmm. He would just, and also like because this movie wants so hard to be like a noir, like that's K-Space is really good at that. He's really, really good at like theatrical line delivery. Like he is. That's his bag. Yeah, this is a movie for K-Space.
What about Cage?
I think that there's a way. Also, if you're making this,
he needs to be the cop.
Okay,
he needs to.
I think so. If we're making this in 2020,
he needs to be Al.
No, he would kill it. Yeah,
I think if you're making this in 2023, and I wouldn't have said this until the last 2 years, where this guy has kind of become more than one dimensional to me. But Bill Skarsgård in the Robin role, because I think that he's actually able to do charismatic, where I didn't know that he had that in his bag until seeing
any of the Skarsgårds. Honestly, you could slap.
What if Alexander as Al Pacino, Bill as Robin,
and Stellan
as
reprising his role? He's like, hey, this just happened to me across the ocean. This exact same thing.
Stellan is the young, wide-eyed detective.
I mean, I'm curious about like the idea of putting more of like a comedian type in this role. So not someone that immediately jumps off as like a bad guy. Mm-hmm. This is not a comedian, but I was thinking like maybe Matt Damon. Matt Damon could
in the Robin role.
Yeah, he could do like kind of creepy pedo.
He says no.
Of course, he says no. Yeah, in 02,
the big issue.
Yeah, I think he could do it.
He doesn't like playing bad guys.
I mean, 02 is the first Bourne movie. He's going action movie star at this point.
I know he wouldn't do it, but I think he would be good in it. But I mean, I don't know. It's tough to.
What about this? I mean, this is again a modern casting, not an 02 casting. But what about Bob Odenkirk in the Robin Williams role?
Sure. Yeah.
I can see it. Good. I think that that's good. He's able to kind of, because
I like that.
You know, Bob Odenkirk, if you like, you put him in the right makeup, and there's something really off-putting about him, like about his face and his head shape.
The jean makeup.
Yeah, put him in the jean makeup, and there you go. And it's like, oh no, he definitely touches tots. Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts on Insomnia? I did want to read real quick our guy Roger Ebert. He said that unlike most remakes, the Nolan Insomnia is not a pale retread, but a re-examination of the material, like a new play.
Wow, the original must suck.
Like a new production of a good play.
What do you give it?
It looks like he gave it.
This is a 2.5 star. Come on.
Where does he put his star ratings? At the bottom?
Did he not give it? He might have not given it a rating.
3.5 stars.
That's too high.
Wow, Raj.
So you gave 3.5 star to Insomnia and 1 star to Death to Smoochie. All right, Raj, I fucking see you. All right.
It's just movies like this, especially now, they haven't aged well because they have the vibe of like every single major network procedural TV show.
You feel how derivative it is in the moment, like as you're watching it.
A lot of this is just like a Law and Order episode or something.
What if, the cop is Mark Ruffalo and the Robin is Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Honestly, that's great.
Slays.
Man, I love, you can just literally put Philip Seymour Hoffman into anything. It's like, he could play both roles, actually. Can we have Philip Seymour Hoffman in like a dual performance, like a Norbit situation?
That'd be so funny.
Let's do it.
He's Come like, on. You and I, we're similar. The guy's like, no, we're not. What are you talking about?
It's like in what fucking is it Prometheus or no? It's one of those fucking the new Alien movies where there's Fassbender plays 2 characters and they're like, we're the same, you and I, and he's just like, what? And they're clones of each other, but they're different. I don't know.
Listen, I didn't.
Ernest has fully left the pod room at this point.
I did not fuck with
out.
You shouldn't ask Insomnia. Me about those movies. I did not fuck with Prometheus at all. Sorry to our king Lindelof, but
man,
It wasn't my vibe.
That's fair.
Stupid movie.
I don't know. This movie is like, it's one of those things where I kind of, it feels old. Like as you're watching it, there's nothing inventive about it. There's nothing like whenever we're watching something like Death of Smoochie or even 1 Hour Photo, you can see the craft, and you can see the craft in this too. Like again, like there's Nolan, there's some performances that I think the performances are not atrocious. It's more so just bad writing. It's uninventive.
Yeah.
It's derivative, but I didn't like hate watching this or anything else like that. It's fine. It's like a perfectly good little movie that I will watch once every 12 years.
I think, yeah, I mean,
that's it.
I think we live in a culture now that really, you know, it celebrates novelty more than anything else, just because there's so much shit to watch that like if it's something you feel like you've seen before, it's like, okay, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least that's how I feel. And so this type of thing, it can fall to the wayside, and I'm not upset about it, to be honest.
This is important. Like this does kind of close this little arc of Robin's career where he is trying to actively fight off the dad mantra. Like it was just kind of in the late in the 90s throughout all of it, but especially into the late 90s, into the early 2000s. Right, he was just like, I want to kind of shed this like family man off of me. I want to be more of, like, I want people to see me more as a capital A actor. I want to take risks with my performances. I want to try to work with all these like different, young, interesting filmmakers. And then he kind of gives up on that. Because let's see, between
next week, baby,
the holy trinity of 2002 movies that we talked about here of 1 Hour Photo, Death to Smoochie, and Insomnia.
Yeah.
Very mixed bag, especially his performances in them are kind of mixed.
I did also want to talk about the final cut.
Oh,
because it has been sitting on my DVD shelf, and I realized that the disc was not in the box.
Man,
so there's no way to watch that movie.
It's gone. It doesn't exist now.
I can't just rent it. Actually, I can.
Well, why would you spend money on watching the final cut?
We don't have to do that.
You don't got to.
No, we don't. But I wanted to.
Do you know how long we've been doing Robin?
It's been like 8 years.
We got to do the essentials like next week.
Yeah.
When we're doing
robots. Okay. So before we wrap up this episode, it's time for, we got the table back. The table's back. We're introducing new release segment. New release movies of the week. What bam, what bam.
Stab.
Saw some movies this week.
Oh man, is that a candle or is that just a really long wick?
We saw John Wick Chapter 4.
I didn't.
And we're here to recommend it to Drew.
What happens?
Because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Everyone should see it. If you like the John Wick movies, which I think we do, right? We reviewed the third one. And I
enjoy them. They're not, they're not like my bag exactly, but I enjoy them. They're like, you can watch them and be like, wow, there's a lot to like here. You know what I mean?
I think that just from like not like plot wise or anything else like that, because I will say for listeners, this is 2 hours and 45 minutes of a John Wick movie. It's a little bit long, a little bit.
I will say,
say that again.
2 hours and 45 minutes. It's almost 3 hours of a John Wick movie. But
I didn't mind it too much.
Yeah, no, it doesn't drag at all, because I think that every time that you start to feel a lull in a scene, then we go to a new set piece, which is cool.
These are movies that you could just mute and put on like dubstep. And you would still
you could just play this out like a party.
There is dubstep in the movie already.
Exactly. But like even through the dialogue scenes.
Speaking of dialogue.
Well, I was just going to say, if you like the John Wick movies for like the great action set pieces, then this is the best one. Yeah. Like it definitely
they do some crazy shit.
People are going a little bit wild. And the pre setup.
There are people posting.
People are posting saying that this is the fallout of the John Wick franchise, which my thought is slow your fucking roll, guys. Yeah. Mission Impossible Fallout is one of the best action movies of the 21st century. It's not quite that level, but I do think that it has like set piece to set piece is so fucking cool. There's
really impressive
some sequences that are just like unbelievable. The stunt work. Ernie, you said right before the movie started that you're like, I view these like video games. Like they have video games logic. And this is that to like the umph degree of like, there are just waves of enemies coming at you. You have to keep fighting through them until you get to a boss battle. And
you get knocked
you get
back,
fucking upgrades to your weapons. Yeah, like it's literally video game logic, this movie. And it rules. It's a fucking blast.
It's a really good time. I think like don't go into it expecting any type of weight in terms of like the drama and the emotional stakes of the movie. They try to inject some of that into the John Wick character, and I think for the most part it pays off. But to me, what I enjoyed the most was the introduction of Donnie Yen. Martial arts like legend Donnie Yen. The way he moves, the way he fights in this movie is incredible. He plays like a blind assassin, and every single sequence this guy is just just absorbing all.
If you haven't seen the Ip Man movies, check him out.
He's basically doing that in here. It's just except a little bit more cartoony. He's getting a little bit more loose with it. Also, the aforementioned Bill Skarsgård is introduced as the main villain, and he's chewing it up. There's also this guy named Scott Adkins, who apparently is like a big action stunt kind of guy. He shows up kind of all over doing a bunch of stunt work. You can just look through his filmography. It's just a bunch of fucking crazy action movies. And he's in here as like almost like a stereotypical Bond villain.
Yeah, no, he literally is just teeth. He's here to be like the heavy. Yeah, the heavy.
Literally the heavy. And it is some of the best action in the entire John Wick series.
He's kind of giving Bernthal a little bit.
Yeah.
But like normal sized eyes.
And like buffer. Not a lot bigger.
It's an incredible sequence in the middle of this movie in a nightclub with waterfalls coming down the walls.
Hey.
This whole movie just looks incredible. Like the lighting, the set design, the shots are just incredible.
The shots.
Lots of
easily Chad Stahelski's best work as a director.
Yeah.
Like by a mile. Like there's just so much of this movie it has the like pause and screen grab kind of quality to it of like, damn, that looks good.
Lots of
how to use neon.
Lots of falling down. Like shit that it's like, how did they do that? How does a human fall like that? And without cutting, they don't cut. And you just see the fall in a single take. And it's like I don't know how they did it. I'm sure there's a lot of work put into the, erasing wires and pads and things like that.
I mean, that's the best part of these movies is they're a great marriage of digital effects and just practical, like hard work. Like
there is some mind-blowing shit that they do here. R.I.P. the late Lance Reddick.
Yeah. Just passed away.
He just passed away. He's in this movie. I think
life is fleeting.
Yeah.
He was just about the best looking 60-year-old on earth.
I know.
I could not believe that he was 60.
I know.
And still too soon, but
I don't think this is my favorite John Wick movie. I think that the first one is probably still my favorite just because it has that emotional through line that I look for in movies to enjoy personally. I think Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 are great movies, but it's just a lot of killing people, and it starts to wear you down after a while without feeling like there's a purpose to it. And this one definitely suffers from that, but I think that this one, it's just so big. It's so massive, and they're just going kind of so above and beyond with the scale of the action that I think this is probably my second favorite. I really liked it.
So my thing with these movies, and I really love these movies, but I do think one thing that separates it from something, just easiest comparison that a lot of people have made to Mission Impossible movies, is that Keanu Reeves ain't Tom Cruise when it comes to acting.
Yeah. The line reading.
There's a couple of line readings in this that Ernie and I did chuckle next to each other in the theater because you don't go to Keanu Reeves for like being a great actor. There's a reason why Keanu Reeves isn't considered like an Oscar nominated type of guy.
If I have one bone to pick with like fucking Reddit you have to learn the difference between dedication to good stunt acting and being a good actor.
Yeah.
He is one of our worst like actors.
I'm going to need a gun.
His line delivery is he kind of talks like this.
And that's okay.
It's literally
he's cool. He's the coolest guy on earth. He's blessed. Like, I mean, he's had tragedy in his life and everything.
Yeah.
But like
he loves doing this work.
He is good at it.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He has kind of found his lane. But it is funny. All of his line delivery is Chris Evans and Scott Pilgrim. As like, the next time you hear my voice, it'll be a gun hitting your head.
It'll be a gun.
I don't know whatever the line is in the movie. But I think that is something that this franchise as a whole is like, it never really crossed that emotional through line that you were talking about, Ernie, because of that level. The first one probably is the best version of that. Chapter 2, I still think might be my personal favorite because that's the best version of introducing this whole underground lore of this like world of assassins in a way that's like really cool. It's like, yeah, fucking everybody is an assassin.
Yeah. They all have big gold coins.
They all have a big gold coin. This does go to my Letterboxd review of this, which is that maybe it's because I watch too much sports. And so like my brain has like turned rotten from like whenever I see a dollar amount in something. But like John Wick, people are trying to hunt him down and they're like, it's a $20 million hit on getting John Wick. That needs to be up higher. $20 million is what Terry Rozier is making for the fucking Charlotte Hornets per year. Okay. That is $8 million less than Kirk Cousins makes per year. Okay. Like I need John Wick has to be worth more than that. Like literally the world's greatest assassin that anyone has ever known.
Minimum.
At least. Are you kidding me? Like I need more than that.
What is the value of $1 in this world though? Huh?
Yeah. The big gold coins. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, they don't have the inflation problems that we have.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. Cause the assassins keep the number of humans low. So
put like US dollars next to the bounty, but it's like how many dollars is the
one
big
gold coin? Yeah, like what's your weight in gold? I don't know. Another thing about this movie is there's one set piece in particular in Paris where, and it's not its fault, but it's going to be judged up against Mission Impossible movies. Yeah, and whenever they try to do, they do their version of Tom Cruise driving a motorcycle without a helmet on, which is Keanu Reeves driving a Mustang with the door blown off. So then he's driving it and you can see that he's driving car, but like there is no driver's side door. Some of the CGI in it doesn't look great.
I didn't mind it too much. I thought
at that point, it does like kind of lull you into it because at that point it does kind of lull you into it because like the movie is kind of like dulled your senses to the point where you're like, I'm watching a cartoon right now. I'm watching a cartoon thing that this isn't set also, in reality.
It looks like they shot it in Paris. Yeah, maybe not that specific sequence, but there are other scenes where it's like
that's definitely just in the streets of Paris.
They definitely just shot it in Paris, which like shoot movies in places.
Yeah.
Please.
Unless you're Steven Spielberg and you actually know how to use ILM to their full capabilities.
Oh my God. Did you see that?
Yeah.
What I shared? Did you see what I shared in the chat?
No, I would never.
In the Fablemans, they use the volume technology for the tornado scene. I saw a tweet about that.
It's literally, it's on a soundstage.
Oh.
That whole thing.
I was like, what?
The like driving the car and everything, that's just all on a soundstage. It's not actually in any kind of
that is insane.
Yeah. Spielberg, stellar, good guy.
We got to get this guy on an Ant-Man movie. For fuck's sake. Give him a real chance. Like
a couple of other highlights from chapter 4 are the Osaka Continental.
Yeah. What a way to kick off the movie.
Man.
Yeah.
Fucking rules, man.
The nunchucks.
This man, the nunchucks, the knife fighting, just that's Stahelski just fully in his bag as just, I'm going to show you that I am the best whenever it comes to hand-to-hand combat. Like up close and personal, nobody can shoot the shit better than me in American films. Right?
That's why you come to these movies is to see what they call the gun fu. It's fucking nuts, dude. And
it's somebody with seemingly unlimited rounds. It's just a clip that they go through and they're like, "Oh, this has a 21 capacity chamber." It's like, well, he just shot 427 bullets out of that thing without reloading. Also, so I don't know about that.
He uses his jacket as like cover because it's an indestructible
Kevlar
jacket.
Yeah, it's like a Kevlar.
He's like this.
That's not how Kevlar works. Like, it doesn't just like pew off of you like if you're wearing Kevlar.
Also, we should mention the top down shot. The
dollhouse shot.
Hotline Miami sequence.
Oh my God, that is
the inflammable rounds.
Yeah, he
flammable rounds?
Flammable. Yeah, flammable. No, it's like that is the most video game of upgrading your weapon, everything else of just they find this guy where they like basically attach fireworks to the rounds themselves. So you shoot and it just explodes on people and
the
sets them on fire.
Flying over this top-down set.
So fucking I just like that was an extended sequence where like my hands were on my face and I leaned forward. I was like, this rules. This rules so fucking hard what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I like the movie. It's probably my favorite movie of the year so far.
Yeah.
I think I like it better than Creed 3. They're kind of on a similar level for me. Creed 3 does have Jonathan Majors in it, which like this movie doesn't. But this movie has Donnie Yen in it.
As Donnie Yen. Oh, wanted to give a shout out to what's his name? Shamir Anderson, who I had never seen.
Mr. Nobody.
Who I had never seen anybody. His name, he's Nobody. He's a tracker.
In more stuff.
He's excellent in this movie.
A fun addition.
Legitimately, him and Donnie Yen kind of carry the emotional weight that Keanu, I think, doesn't in this movie. I think that like what both of them are doing is bringing like really, really unique kind of empathy from these characters that are supposed to be like the villain type characters in this story, but they aren't the big villains. So you kind of learn a little bit more about them. And
also Rina Sawayama.
Yeah. Our girl
who might be like the star of the next John Wick movie.
Yeah. They
leave her character wide open for a lot of possibilities.
That'd be sick. I'm happy for her. She put out a really disappointing album last year.
She's cool in the movie,
and that's the thing is like as a person, you can't find anyone cooler.
She actually does. I mean, I don't know how much of her own stunt work she does or anything like that, but like she is really good in the sequences that she's in.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that rules.
Yeah.
Her
and Donnie Yen together in the next John Wick movie. Like, let's fucking go, dude. Yeah. That will rule so hard. I'm so ready.
So
for that.
John Wick 4 is probably my favorite movie of the year so far. Another movie I saw this week that's probably my least favorite movie of the year. A real 1-2 punch this week. Shazam 2. Fury of the Gods.
That's the worst movie of the year so far. Damn.
I've only seen 6 movies this year.
He hasn't seen Cocaine Bear.
I haven't seen Cocaine Bear. I haven't seen Plane.
I might go see Cocaine Bear.
I'm doing the legwork for this fucking pod.
To go from John Wick and then the next day see Shazam 2. Remember when I brought up a couple pods ago, like what's the biggest come down from movie 1 to movie 2?
Oh yeah,
I think Shazam 2 is like a big contender.
Oh wow,
because I like the first Shazam.
The first Shazam's really fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun superhero movie.
Yeah, it's like a family story, kind of low stakes. And this movie, this might be a good little mini conversation about just like the state of kind of big popcorn blockbuster movie making.
I'm thrilled about this
because like the double header of Shazam 2 and Ant-Man 3 seems like a big sort of ringing of the bell of the end, because we can't keep doing this. This cannot be.
So what do you think it is? Has the well just run dry of good enough material, or has the talent relocated itself? I just think
it's just this approach of like quippy, fun winking.
The shtick is run
doesn't
out.
Work anymore.
It
felt
run dry.
Fresh. It felt fresh at one time, and it was deployed correctly when like the very first Avengers movie came out, and it was like, this is amazing, this feels so fresh. And now like over a decade later, it's like this is way past its expiration.
It's becoming a copy of a copy of a copy.
That's exactly.
It's just all
it's become distorted. It's all just because like, as much as we'd hate to admit it, the root of all of this is Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is you can say the only thing that he is good at truly is writing quippy dialogue. But it's become, they give these scripts to writers that do not have experience in anything similar. And they're like, do an impression of an impression of an impression of Joss Whedon.
It extends to all the other aspects of the movie. Like there are sequences in this movie that we've seen before. Like there's a sequence on a bridge where they save people that's like literally the same thing from the fucking first Fantastic Four movie from like 15 years ago. We already did it. Every major sequence in this movie is derivative of something else. There's nothing that feels fresh and new, which is the first Shazam felt fresh and new.
I remember enjoying the first Shazam. If it were to come out now, I'd probably enjoy it less, but still,
at the time,
I think also it's
4 years ago.
We also weighed it up against everything else that DC had put out at that point, which at that point it's like, oh my God, shit. It's a breath of life. When in reality, like, was it ever that great to begin with, or was it just like a fun?
I think it was just I think it was just like a really serviceable hero comedy movie to sort of mirror.
Well, it felt
Marvel.
small. It was about this family, like a foster family,
right.
about this experience of this kid like not feeling like he belonged in his foster family. Like I really like that aspect of the first movie. This one like doesn't have that at all. It's nothing. It doesn't feel like there's anything there to grab onto.
Ernie, you might be right, and because I was a little bit more hesitant because you were out here saying that this was going to be kind of the starting to be the phase 3 of the superhero genre, and it's slowly getting phased out. But at the end of the day, maybe it's just the cynical side of me is that as long as these movies make money, that's all that matters. Shazam 2 is heading for a $30 million opening weekend on a $125 million budget.
And the first one was like 45 or 50.
And that's bad. It's might lose money. Good. Like it probably is going to lose money.
Tanked on its like third weekend. It's like gonna barely cross 500 mil or something like that.
But the thing is, that's still a W. Like that's still as long as these movies are, at least it's an expense for them. Like it doesn't actually, it's not like a big loss.
It's not a huge red.
The moment that these movies have a Babylon where they lose $100 million, that's when things are going to get serious.
When it's like
which DC has had those. DC has had those, but Marvel still hasn't yet.
I think a lot of the issue and the reason that people don't want to give up on these movies is because the history of superhero movies is so spotty before the 21st century.
Yeah.
But now
even into the early aughts, like things were just like more likely than not, things were going to be wildly mishandled if you were making a hero adaptation. So the fact that they have done so many serviceably well is incredible. Like it's like for anyone who's into comics, into these stories, it's a huge win. But there comes a time when the wave simply must end.
No, it literally I been saying this for years, but this is like, and I'm not the only person to say this, but this is the Westerns. We are now reaching the 1940s and people don't want to see Westerns anymore. They want to see crime films. Like they don't eventually these things all come in waves, and not to say that superhero movies are going to stop forever. Westerns still get made, but that's not the only type of movie anymore. You don't have one studio putting out 5 of these fucking things plus TV shows about the same thing every year.
It's just too much.
Because you oversaturated the market.
And the target audience for this movie are people that have watched other comic book movies, so they're not going into it with fresh open
exactly
eyes.
You also, that's a whole other problem that they have. You're only losing fans at this point. You are only losing an audience. You are never going to capture more people because you're either in or you're out at this
They're
point.
not seeing anything new. I will say, like, this is not a Black Adam level, at least in my opinion. Like,
it's not that good.
Black Adam made me want to claw my eyes out. This, I could be like, okay, if you were like 8 years old when the first one came out and now you're like 11 or 12, like you're probably going to find a lot to enjoy here. You know, it's still at the end of the day a movie aimed primarily at children. And, you know, unless you're like maybe an older kid, you're not going to judge it too critically. Like they're going to enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
There's some things in it that like might be a little bit too scary for younger kids, which I did kind of like. Some of the creature design was giving Elden Ring in some of these things.
So it does look good. Like the CGI is well done in this.
It's spotty here and there. It's spotty, and like when you don't care about the story, at all, it's a lot harder to kind of vibe with this level of inconsistency where like every other scene, we were just talking about this the other night, Drew, like these movies, they're on a schedule and they just have to put them out unfinished.
Yeah.
They're just like, all right, that's it. You know, they don't have a James Cameron Avatar budget where they can take
or like an RRR situation where it was just like, just take a year to shoot.
Exactly.
Do whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole, there's a Hollywood Reporter or Variety that had that really great piece last year that was like the anonymous, the VFX houses about how fucking slammed they are with these movies. And there's a reason, like they look, it's not just your imagination that they've been looking more and more like shit the last 3 years. Like they legitimately have dramatically less time to work on
and COVID played a huge role in this, obviously. I think Marvel in particular got a little overambitious in thinking that they could stick with the shoot and warehouse formula, like post-COVID.
It's not working out.
Yeah, it's time to get back into the world.
Yeah. And this movie, it was not in the world.
There's also the aspect that we haven't talked about yet, which is the Zachary Levi of all this.
I was going to bring that up. He is insufferable in this movie. There are a couple.
I think after the first Shazam, we were all like, "I like Zachary Levi. He's fun in this.
He's good. He was good in the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel season that he was in. He was fun in that.
As a human being, he's terrible.
Yeah. He is doing like the SNL sketch version of this performance, and it does not work at all. But maybe like 1 or 2 scenes it works, you know, and you get some laughs out of it, but it just does not click, especially because like he's supposed to be playing a version of this kid, but when you see the actual kid, the kid doesn't behave at all. Like there's no connection in the two versions of the character.
That was true in the first one also. That was the critique I had.
He's going too zany.
Yeah, it's
for
too
what
much.
the kid is doing.
The kid is not zany in the first one.
Yeah, that kid, Asher Angel, I'm sorry, bud. Like there's nothing for you here. Jack Dylan Grazer, though, again, the MVP.
Oh, he's great. Fucking love that guy.
The first movie.
Yeah.
Jack Grazer's squad.
Yeah.
We're still going strong.
He's great. It is.
How's puberty treating him? Is he gonna get roles as an adult?
His voice just like, hey, Mr. Shazam, like, is it dropped
that's always the big question.
Like, does he get weird and awkward?
When you're introduced to him, it's just like, oof. Like, he's supposed to be playing like probably a junior, maybe a senior in high school, and it's just like, you kind of look like you're starting to get into your 20s a little bit.
Oh boy,
and it's not quite working out.
USA Today article. The next Timothy Chalamet, meet Jack Dylan Grazer, HBO and It star.
He's really fun though. Like he is putting in good work.
Grazer is my guy.
He's given, and he gets a lot of scenes with Rachel Zegler, who's in this movie. And I was just like, Rachel Zegler, can you please make real movies? You are so talented. You're about to be Disney Snow White. Like, please. Go work with Steven Spielberg again. Like, what are we doing?
I'm looking at post puberty Jack Grazer.
I know, dude.
It's weird. It's weird looking at him.
I mean, this happens to every child actor. This is why it's tough to buy stock in like kid actors because like you don't know, like you don't know how they're gonna look, and then even if they're talented, casting directors might just toss them in the trash.
Yeah.
Or guess what? They might like become 14 and like have a mental illness. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
because you become famous at way too young.
Yeah,
age.
they might be like, oh, actually, I'm very anxious and I don't want to do this.
I mean, because it is the twofold of both like. You can be a good child actor because you're good at playing like boyishness, but you aren't good at being like an actor as like a 20-plus-year-old person. And then also, there is the whole being typecast. If you just look like a kid forever, then you have where Timmy's at now, where Timmy is like trying to kind of break free of that mold. But it's like you still look at Timothy Chalamet and you're like, what are you, like, I don't know, like 21? I don't know. Like
it could be anything.
A little baby.
I ride for Jack all day.
So my Letterboxd review for this was somehow the most memorable thing about this movie is that Shazam has a Ready Player One poster in his bedroom.
Hell yeah, brother.
So that's like the one thing that is not going to leave my brain from this movie.
The
big Ernest Cline fan.
Yeah.
Man.
Listen, in high school, we all loved Ready Player One.
I think
it was an important.
That is the biggest like Hollywood bubble I've ever heard.
Well, it's a Warner Brothers movie. So it's like Annabelle Creation, which is a David F. Sandberg movie. Game of Thrones and Ready Player One. That's what you want to sleep next to every night. Is those posters?
I don't want to be friends
Annabelle.
with that
Wait. Annabelle Creation is a poster.
Yeah,
that's
it's the David F. Sandberg movie.
No, I know, but that's just okay. All right.
I would love for David F. Sandberg to make his Malignant, like just go back to making horror movies, because the creature design in this movie is like the best shit about it. Like they let him do some creepy fucking shit. It looks really cool. Oh yeah, baby. JDG.
Oh my god, the single overall strap. Rules.
This is what you got to do. Is you got to go like sexy TikTok like
sexy
Zoomer
twink
E-boy.
Just
overalls, big ass chain. Fuck yeah, Jack.
Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu
I love it.
are also in this movie. They get nothing to do. Completely wasted.
Man, I forgot that Lucy Liu was in this movie.
Yeah.
That sucks because Lucy Liu just doesn't act anymore. So then you get a Lucy Liu performance.
She gets to ride a CGI dragon
in this. Okay, cool. Sick.
So that's cool. Jimin Honsu returns as the wizard that grants him the powers, and he gets to run around with Jack Dylan Grazer in their own little movie. I was like, can I see that movie? Because those two guys seem fun together. I want the movie becomes like a pretty good little buddy movie with Jimin Honsu and Jack Dylan Grazer for like 20 minutes.
Remind me, and the first Shazam ends with them all getting powers, right?
Yes.
So Jack Dylan Grazer, what is his adult version of himself?
Adam Brody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's good. It's fine.
Okay.
It's
I like Adam Brody, but it's just
he's better than fucking Zachary
Adam
Levi.
Adam Brody to me is like an all-time I haven't done research yet, but like what happened? There was a decade where he should have been a movie star, in my opinion.
He's in Fleischman is in Trouble. He's really good in that.
I know. Yeah. Now, now at this point, he's like 40, you know, like what happened? He was Seth Cohen. He was the king of TV. It seemed like a natural movie star.
Hey, he got Shazam too. So, yeah, maybe not. I think I'd probably put Ant-Man 3 below this as my least favorite movie of the year.
But your two worst movies of the year are two superhero movies, and that says something. As
you can stop watching them.
Yeah,
I could.
I think that's where I'm at. Drew, you were ahead of the curve here, and I think I after Wakanda Forever, I think that movie kind of Thor broke something inside of me, and then Wakanda Forever was just like, we're never going back.
That was the first like sign of
because
like,
I already hadn't seen like more than half of the new fucking wave of movies of the Eternals and all that bullshit. Anyways,
I haven't watched one since Endgame.
It's good. Honestly,
life is awesome.
Here's the thing: you hopped off the train at the appropriate stop.
I know. Like maybe like the only one I would want to watch is No Way Home.
Well, No Way Home is. I guess you saw Far From Home, which was like a month after Endgame. The one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
You're right. That was right after. Yeah. You're right.
That's like a coda to Endgame though. Yeah. No Way Home is or Far From. Yeah, No Way Home. No Way Home. As much as I like it's the one with the portals. And that's the movie that's gonna break people's fucking brains for all of these things forever. Yeah, I think outside of Guardians 3, because it's a James Gunn Guardians movie, I kind of just don't fucking care anymore. Yeah. I think I'm just out. I'm just hard out.
I'm still interested from like an industry.
I don't even want to see Loki season 2 anymore, and I fucking love the first season of Loki, but I just know it's going to be a setup for something else.
Like the from like a state of Hollywood perspective and like where the industry is going, I'm still fascinated by like how these movies are positioned as a central piece of the industry and how that affects everything else.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that the smart thing to do would be to pump the fucking brakes on this shit and just let it fizzle out and not continue to pour money into something that's not getting the return that you want on it in terms of quality or in terms of dollars.
Or just maybe we just go back to just making one or two of these
exactly, which I think that's what's going to happen.
I think that's probably where
it's going to be a while before we're down to that level.
Well, I think that it's gonna take a big flop, and I don't know which one that's gonna be. What else is? Maybe it's gonna be what's the Marvels?
That's this year.
Yeah.
End of this
I
year.
think I could see that flopping, like that being the one where it's like, oh brother, we really thought that we could just make like a children's Marvel Captain Marvel sequel, which Captain Marvel already wasn't a very successful
one of the weakest
Marvel
ones,
movie anyways.
I did want to say one last thing. This movie has one of the most egregious product placements I have ever seen in my life.
Oh,
for
please
fucking
describe it.
Skittles. They say taste the rainbow twice.
Oh, come on.
Cool.
Just an
think
ad.
they got like a quick
Just
100K to go towards their budget
the
or
Skittles
something.
play a role in the third act.
Come on, man. Are they like the Infinity Stones?
That's how they control the creatures that are attacking. That's how they like tame them with Skittles.
Is it better or worse product placement than the use of the Mountain Dew Transformer in the first Transformers movie?
Oh, I don't remember that. That's
you don't
probably
remember
worse.
the Mountain Dew car?
I know they did Bud Light at one point.
Bud Light was another one in there. Michael Bay, though, he loves... There was one in Ambulance. I can't remember which one it was, but Michael Bay always has a great product placement thing in there.
Creed 3 had Hennessy, which was pretty egregious.
That's cool, though.
They can kind of sneak that one in. It's like, it's actually a sponsorship of the fight.
Ooh.
So...
Damn. Yeah, that's fair, because fights are branded.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, product placement happens, but
they got to pay.
Yeah. The greatest of all time, in my opinion, I think about it like 3 times a week still, is K-Space as Frank Underwood going, is that a PS Vita?
PS Vita.
I'll say that's a PS Vita.
That's one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen in my life.
All right, we can wrap it up there. Thank you all for tuning in, watching, and listening. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, and comment. Let us know your thoughts. Visit weboughtamic.net. Join the Discord and donate. Thank you, beautiful donors, for donating, making the show possible. We got this table. This table costs $5,000.
Oh my God. So this was, 1 week's of podcasts?
Thank you. Thank you. Next week, it's robots time.
Yeah.
Robots. From, what is that? Illumination? Whatever Illumination was before it was Illumination.
I thought it was a DreamWorks movie. It's not DreamWorks?
Oh, you might be right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is DreamWorks. I'm pretty sure Spielberg directed this.
It is produced by Blue Sky Studios.
Yeah. It's like some off-brand
For some reason, I told myself that this was a DreamWorks film.
Ewan, Amanda Bynes.
What else has Blue Sky put out?
I think
they put
Ice
out any
Age.
other... okay.
I think Ice Age was like their big one.
Ice Age rocks.
Yeah.
So the first Ice Age is great.
And keep the Robin train going as we reach the end of our series. In terms of new movies, I know Super Mario Bros. Is right around the corner.
And
don't
know if we'll need a whole episode on that.
Last of Us just wrapped up.
Yeah, we're going to have to do Last of Us recap.
The Last
Absolutely.
of Us. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. We love you. Bye.
Bye.